Hello guys, and I'm very happy to see you on my channel again. I hope you will like my new video setup. I really worked hard in terms of my imagination to come up with a better setup for my videos in terms of the aesthetics. So, in this video we'll be talking about 5 main mistakes I have made during my ComTIA exams preparation. Just to reiterate, I have passed my A+ exam, including 2 exams that A+ consists of, 1001 and 1002. It's really hard to come up with exam codes now. And Network Plus and Security Plus. Now when I can look back and reevaluate my preparation strategy, I can review what mistakes I have made and what I could have made better for my preparation. Irrespectively, either to make my preparation time shorter, or to make my scores higher, or to make me stress out less during my preparation. As far as I know from Facebook groups that I'm in about CompTIA exams, or my friends who are preparing to pass them or have already passed them, I can understand that many people are looking for a magic formula of success on ComTIA exams, and this is understandable. As with everything in life, we're looking for a shortcut or kind of the systematic approach to pass the exam. And I often see that students asking, what should I do to pass CompTIA? Which life hacks I should implement? What should I follow? And it's understandable. And I often see that many students are being asked, I mean those who have already passed the ComTIA exams, about like questions, which shortcuts did they follow? What is the fastest way to prepare for ComTIA examination? And this is absolutely understandable, as we're all looking for ways to pass this exam. Before I proceed to my 5 mistakes, I just want to tell you that, as in many things in life, the shortest, and not the shortest, but the most definitive way to be prepared for CompTIA is to know the material, know the objectives, and do lots of multiple choice questions. In other words, to be prepared for exams in terms of its objectives, to know what you will be asked, to know the material. Right, and my first mistake during my CompTIA exams, and well, the thing that actually contributed to the fact that I failed my first A+ exam, 1001, was that I was not looking for these formulas of success. I was not asking the other students. I added myself to CompTIA A+ groups, to different CompTIA groups as a matter of fact. But I was not asking people. I was sort of too self-confident, because people were saying, oh, CompTIA A+ is just piece of cake. CompTIA exams are piece of cake. It's just the industry that is hard. But exams are very easy. And I was over self-confident. So what I did is just I googled for a book that I can use to prepare for CompTIA. I came across Mike Myers' book. I think I will add the link to my video. I bought that book and I started reading it. I bought the exam date, I registered for exam, and then I failed it. That's it. Why? Because I was not asking what could have contributed to the fact that I passed the exam, what people were using to prepare for the exam, what helped them, which areas they found difficult. For instance, I did not make the same mistake for Network Plus, and I just started asking people, what areas do you think I should allocate most time for? What do you think they're really picky about? And they were telling, so for instance, during the performance-based questions, you will be having the questions about setting up a switch, so you have to know how to do that. And I actually started researching how you could set up switch, router, what should you use, which commands you should use for that, if you can use commands, of course. And this contributed to the fact that I passed Network Plus and Security Plus from my first try. So my mistake basically was that I was not listening to other people. I was not striving to get as much information as I could from people who are preparing for the exam, who have failed the exam, or who have already passed the exam. So in order not to repeat this mistake, for any certification and CompTIA especially, be proactive. Really be proactive, ask as many questions as you can, ask like questions like which areas did you find difficult, which areas should I allocate most time for. If they feel like you're overstepping the boundaries, I mean in a way that you're asking them to disclose the questions, they will tell you. It's their choice whether they tell you that, oh, I had a question like this, or I had a question like that. So it's their choice whether they tell you the questions themselves or they tell you just about the areas that you should be on the lookout. My second mistake during my CompTIA preparation was the fact that I was doing everything step by step. What I mean is that, so I found the book, Exam Guide, I think it was the Exam Cram, sorry I'm looking at my puppy, and it was Exam Cram, and I first read the book. I was reading one chapter a day. Then I decided to watch Jason Dion's course. Then for Network Plus, I also watched Mike Mayer's course. And all of that I was doing one by one. So it was normal that at the time when I was doing Mike Mayer's course, I had already forgot what I read in the book in the first place, at the first stage. So I had to reread, rescan, I would say, the book again 2 times so that I can remember it. Then when I was doing Jason Dion's tests, I forgot what Jason Dion was saying in his course. So I have spent so much time just reiterating all over that material because I forgot. We are people every day, we are living through different events, through different stuff, and we forget stuff. And we cannot obviously remember everything from the time that we were born. And it's better to have all the material in your head for the exam and combine different materials. So you're reading the book, okay, you read the book for 2 hours, then you watch Jason Dion's course or whatever course you're going for. It can be Professor Messer. And then you pass the exam, so you combine your materials, and it helps you because at some point you're looking at one topic in the book and then you can see the same topic in Jason Dion's explanation, and Jason Dion's explanations, they usually don't go too deep. He just provides you with what you need to know for the exam, which is very helpful actually. So you know the deeper explanation from the book, you combine it with Jason Dion's explanation, and woohoo, you know the definition, you know what objective is asking you for, and you can obviously navigate your way during the exam. My third mistake that I managed to repeat during all of my certification preparations, unfortunately I failed to teach myself that, Jamila, you should not do like that. I really hope that at least I will help you to avoid this one and to be able to teach yourself. If you manage to do that, please let me know, because I always forget to do that. So I read the objectives in the end. I just print them out just before my exam preparation. I scan through them and I see different terms like WPA. What is that? I don't know this. I just scan through them and I'm like, oh no, I will just be using the exam resources for the time being and will read objectives in the end. And this is so problematic. Why? Because objectives are combined in groups, not only in different sections, like each objection has 3 to 5 different sections. Sorry, each exam objectives have 3 to 5 sections, and each section has different subsections. So all of these objectives are combined in groups. If you read the objectives from the very beginning, or at least you keep reading them while you're reviewing the material or you're preparing yourself, you're reading the material for the first time, it helps you to actually know that, oh, this is grouped. This they will be asking me about. This I should remember because I will be asked about this. Because whenever we're preparing for the exam, let us take 802.11 standard. We are provided with so many information about that standard, but objectives actually help you to filter the information that you will need for the exam. So you know, oh, okay, I will be asked the frequency. Oh, okay, I will be asked the channels that they operate on. Because after the standards in the objectives, you can also see channels, so that you obviously can make an educated guess that you have to know the channels that these standards are operating on. Yeah, so reading the objectives during your preparation or before your preparation is very helpful to understand, because you sort of know the finish line, you sort of know where you're going. But what was I doing? I was just reading the material step by step, then I was reading the objectives, I was realizing, oh yeah, the definitions that I read in chapter 5 and the definitions that I read in chapter 7, oh yeah, they relate to each other. Yeah. And this was absolutely unnecessary waste of time, because I ended up going through these definitions again, reading through them again to combine them in your head. Because although you have read them, you have to have this certain structure in your head so that you can retrieve the information. I treat our head as a why small actually? The big SQL database where you sort of fetching some information, and our brain needs to have this information systemized, combined in groups, combined in sections, subsections, so that it can fetch this information faster. So as I said, I spent so much time by reading the objectives in the end, and that was obviously a mistake. The fourth mistake that I want to talk about is related to the sources or resources that we use for the exam preparation. We know that CompTIA preparation or overall certification preparations, as they help us in our employment or whatever you're passing it for, there are sort of many people nowadays who are opening these CompTIA courses or preparing some sort of resources so that you can buy them, and they're making money on it. And year by year, I can notice that there are more and more resources available, which is problematic in a way that whenever you start preparing for the exam, you don't know what to choose from, because you have so many resources, and all of them obviously are investing in their marketing campaigns, and they are making everything for you to believe that their resources are the best. By reading their resources, you're gonna succeed 100%. Well, my mistake about the specific CompTIA exams was that I was looking through more and more resources. Maybe I was depressed after the fact that I failed my exam the first time. I was perfectionist, and failing something was a big tragedy for me at that time. And I was looking for many resources. I thought that I'm not ready to pass the exam if I read like the exam cram book, watched the Dion's videos, and watched Professor Messer's videos. So I was looking for more resources, saying to myself that no, I'm not ready, I need to read more. If I don't read more, I will fail the exam. And this was my mistake. Why? Because we obviously cannot read all of the resources there are in the world to prepare for CompTIA. You have to go for something that has been used by other students and has been reviewed. I understand this is kind of an unfair approach, because other authors can say that no, but maybe my resource is not popular yet, but my resource is one of a kind. It will help you to prepare for the exam faster. It's true, but we don't really have time to read all of the resources and spend our precious time looking through if this resource is one of a kind or not. So we got to concentrate on something that has received reviews on, that has been used by students who have already passed the exam. So, and second thing, you should see if this is actually interesting to you. So for instance, exam cram study guide books were interesting to me because they were very on point. Although I don't have anything against Mike Myers, I really respect him. I watched all of his videos on Udemy. I purchased his Udemy courses, but I found his book on CompTIA A+ really boring and really consisting of the information that I don't need for the exam. For instance, it's nice to know how RAM came to exist. It's nice to know how storage system came to exist, but this is not something that I must know for the exam. So these two rules that I would suggest you to follow is that don't try to use all of the resources on this world. If you have time, that's perfect, try to and do that. But if you have limited time, just go for the ones that have received more positive reviews. Second, use the resources that are interesting to you. If your gut feeling is telling you that no, this resource doesn't help me to understand stuff, it doesn't help me to really get the hang of the topics and so on, then don't use it. Try to find an alternative that has received the same, more, or maybe a bit lower reviews from the students, but still it's better for you. It helps you to understand the topics, because even at school or at the university, one professor can explain everything in a way that your friend understands, but you don't understand anything. But then you're going to other professor's lecture, and from the way he explains the topics, you understand everything. So there are many people and there are many different tastes of these people, and you've got to navigate by your own intuition and by your own preferences. The fifth and the last mistake that has contributed to the fact that I failed the exam, I know I have been telling this a lot during this video, but I want to highlight those mistakes specifically that have contributed to me failing. So is that I was taking the tests that I have been doing, the mock tests, as representations of whether I will pass the exam or not. Why? Because some of the tests, for instance, most of the tests that I used were Jason Dion's practice tests, and whenever I was doing them for ComTIA A+, my very first exam, I was passing them. I was not passing them by 90% plus percentage, but I was certainly passing them by 75 plus, 77 plus. Under passing, I mean I saw at the end of the test that I passed it. So, and I thought of myself that, yeah, I'm ready to take this exam and I will pass it. So what happened? I failed. Why? Because I navigated my way through the exams, the practice exams that I've passed, by making educated guesses. You can't continue making educated guesses on the exam. Obviously you can, but you got to admit the fact that if your educated guesses are wrong, you're gonna fail the exam. And that's it. So the fact that you're passing the test, this is a very good sign. But you have to understand for yourself personally, if you really understood each question asked, if you really understood each answer provided in the test, why it is B and not A, why it is B and not C. You should make sure that you understand everything. By navigating your way with educated guesses during the practice exams, you do no good to yourself or to anyone else, because these practice tests, they are not monitored by anyone, and no one really cares. Well, I think even Udemy doesn't care if you pass those tests or not. So you have to manage to focus on yourself and on the fact that you understood all of these questions, and make sure that you have not been making any educated guesses, but you knew why this answer was wrong and why this specific answer was right. What I did next, in my next preparations, was that I was not focusing on percentage as much as tests themselves. So I was taking a screenshot of each test that was wrong, and what I did is that I just started looking through those questions that I did wrong and at the explanations. So I reiterated over that several times, making sure that I understand why this question is wrong. And honestly, on my Network Plus exam, I was failing Jason Dion's practice tests. I was scoring 65, 68. But since I realized that, yeah, in each question now I understand. I truly understand why it was wrong, why it was B and not A. And I have a solid understanding of the objectives, and I have a solid understanding of the test questions that I have been doing, whether it was Mike Myers, whether it was Jason Dion. I'm not sure if Professor Messer has tests for Network Plus. I think he does have them for A Plus and Security Plus. So all in all, I passed the Network Plus exam from the first try, although I was failing my practice tests. So this is the kind of proof of the fact that if you are not making educated guesses, but you actually know what you are answering to, helps you during the exam. But it doesn't mean that you're not making educated guesses on the exam. Obviously, if you answer any of the questions wrong, it's not gonna take any of your points. So you can make educated guesses, and you should. If you don't know the answer on the exam, you should make an educated guess. But otherwise, during your practice tests, you should really make sure that you know the answers and you know why this answer is correct. And it will help you to get through the objectives again and to repeat everything and make understanding of those definitions more solid in your head. So it was Jama about IT with you today. I'm looking forward to see you in my next videos, and I was very happy to see you today. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit that like button for this video. See you soon. Bye.